this is the golden era for fraud. It's not the golden age of America. It's a golden age of fraud. So, and there's two buckets of people that Trump loves the most. It's criminals, specifically white collar criminals, who've been investigated by the SEC, Elon Musk, Justin's son, the largest holder of his cryptocurrency, or out and out criminals, people who stormed the Capitol on January 6th, people who beat up police officers, even though apparently were instituting extra punishment if you hurt an officer. Sorry, asterisk, if you're black or brown. Forgot about that. So there's criminals, and he loves them both. It's not just white collar criminals. I'm telling you, it's other kinds of criminals. Like if you, I don't know, plotted to kidnap a Democrat, you absolutely should get a pardon. And Trump now says he's looking into the possibility of pardoning the men who were convicted of plotting to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer because, they were just these innocents. Trump said he would look into pardoning those men convicted in the scheme to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. I'll take a look at it. It's been brought to my attention, said Trump while speaking to reporters in the Oval Office during a swearing-in of Jeanine Pirro, the new U.S. attorney for Washington, D.C. Man, if we ever do our own January 6th, man, we're because if Jeanine Pirro is the attorney for D.C., you know what I'm saying? We're screwed. He said that he had watched the trial and that it looked like somewhat of a railroad job. Yeesh, don't say that. They were drinking, and I think they said stupid things, but I'll take a look at that. Over a dozen people were charged in connection with the plot to kidnap Whitmer, a Democrat, though only some of them were tried in federal court and thus eligible for a pardon from Trump. A federal judge sentenced the ringleader of the group, Barry Croft Jr., to over 19 years in prison and handed Adam Fox, another key player, 16 years. Now, what's interesting about the plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer is that there were actually FBI agents who were involved in helping to foment that plot. So we talked about that on this show when that story broke. And that was actually sus. I'm not saying that people don't deserve time, but it was, as someone who doesn't believe that the FBI should be doing sting operations to entrap anybody or to not necessarily, if you don't want to use the word entrap, but like lead and help, sort of find the extremists and give them, whether it's the Muslim American community, which we're very good at doing that in this country, or even if it's like anti-government white militia extremists, they're doing enough of the crime. You don't need to plant the idea into their head. So I want to name that. But I also want to say that part of the rewriting of what happened on January 6th is that it was somehow an FBI sting operation. No, these are two very different instances. But it's really interesting that some of the rewriting is all about, well, it was like a deep state plot. No. There were FBI agents, right? Because they knew that shit was going down. So some of them were undercover. Some of them were Enrique Tarrio, who was working with the Proud Boys until, he was asked to work for the FBI because he did in order to get himself off the hook for planning the. So like the fact that Tarrio was working with the FBI or had turned informant doesn't mean Tarrio is like suddenly an FBI agent. But the idea that thousands and thousands of people descended onto the Capitol as if it was a deep state plot and not the open spoken Facebook event, like marketed, insurrection of the year is ridiculous. Trump was telling people to go out there. I remember the Arizona State Party, a Republican state party, was encouraging people to go out there. They were boosting all kinds of far right folks like Ali Abunimah. Remember that guy? No, Ali Abunimah. Ali Abunimah is from Electronic Intifada. God damn it, I'm forgetting his name. Ali Alexander, that's his name. Not Abunimah. Sorry, Ali Abunimah. No, remember Ali Alexander? Remember that weirdo? So like, you know what I'm saying? They take something that has happened and they're trying to be like, oh yeah, in fact, January 6th was all the FBI. Anyway, the other thing is, as we know with Justin Sun, who, again, a massive billionaire crypto guy who had investigations into, what was it, 600,000 illegal transactions that his company used to boost the price of his own crypto that he was being investigated for. Those charges have now been dropped under Trump. He now owns the most amount of cryptocurrency of Trump's coin or whatever it is, his crypto. Trump loves that because he loves any ally who's going to crime for him. So we talked about low-level criminals, or maybe like a more street crime. You got the people who you have to send to the front gates to die for you, and then you've got the people who are going to be sort of in behind the fortified walls. Once people actually rise up because they hate your guts and they hate what you're doing. So you'll need your little brown shirts and you'll need your walls of them, but then you're going to need, all the people are going to help you do the real financial crimes. And so Trump is poised to pardon Todd and Julie Chrisley, the reality TV couple convicted of fraud. Look at these people. I love this guy. I love a bleach blonde tips. Like, I love this. I love it. A bow tie and bleach tips. You just got to appreciate that kind of tackiness. Trump says he's going to fully pardon Todd and Julie Chrisley, reality TV personalities who've served more than 2 years in prison after being convicted of funding their lavish lifestyle through tax evasion and bank fraud. They rose to fame starring in the USA Network show Chrisley Knows Best that ran from 2014 to 2023. Man, and my ass can't even get a show. What do I need to do? Do I need to wear a bow tie and do some bleach blonde tips and do some light banking crime so I can have a show that runs for 9 years? Come on. It focused on wealth and interpersonal dynamics of their 7-person family living in the Atlanta and Nashville, Tennessee areas. I'm such a zero on reality TV, so I'm sure some people know about this. They portrayed themselves as successful real estate tycoons and self-made millionaires, but they were eventually accused of funding their lifestyle through this dishonest means. No. Rich people dishonest? Prosecutors say they conspired to defraud community banks in the Atlanta area to take out more than $36 million in personal loans. They spent the money on luxury cars, designer clothes, real estate, and travel, and used new fraudulent loans to pay back the old ones. They said the Chrisleys failed to pay taxes for the 2013, 2014, 2015, and 2016 tax years. Now, are these not Trump's kind of people or what? Meanwhile, you got your ass handed to you in tax season. I got my ass handed to me in tax season. We're paying so that we can drop bombs on the children of Gaza. These people, and this is what's amazing, right? It's like you have a little bit of capital, you have like a little bit of assets, and you can just keep on borrowing on loan after loan after loan. When you're white, they let you do anything. No, but really, it's true. Like this is why generally capitalism is a Ponzi scheme, but this is not even really capitalism. This is just sort of the ripe for fraud landscape that is our banking system and our system of who gets a loan, when they get a loan, what they have to prove, and also who's going to be sought after by the IRS or not. Because, they don't go after these kinds of folks. But then they did. They were sentenced to 12 and 7 years in federal prison, respectively, after a jury convicted them of bank and tax fraud offenses in 2022. Over the course of a decade, the defendants defrauded banks out of tens of millions of dollars. These are all like, what are these, community banks? I love it. Love to target a community bank in Atlanta. What is that, black owned? Probably not, but still. Was it like a fireman's bank? Beautiful shit. While evading payment of their federal income taxes, then U.S. Attorney Ryan Buchanan said at the time, adding their lengthy sentences reflect the magnitude of their criminal scheme. The Chrisleys have denied the charges and claimed they were unfairly targeted because of their conservative beliefs. Their oldest daughter, Savannah, has become an outspoken critic of the criminal justice system since her parents' incarceration. Oh my God. I think Savannah's a little bit of an influencer. I couldn't find videos quick enough on her, but man, when white people get held accountable, when rich white people get held accountable for their financial crimes, / storming the Capitol, and then are like, oh my God, prison's bad for me. But if you have like a dime bag on you, like you should definitely rot in jail. But like, I'm like, literally, you guys remember the quote from the Jan 6 rioter who said she was, quote, too white to jail? She did actually go to jail. But that is what these people deeply believe in their bones. She spoke on stage at the Republican National Convention in July, calling her parents victims of political persecution. The Biden crime family came for us. After Trump took office, she told people that she was going through the proper channels to try and get them pardoned, and had lunch at the White House in February. Yee. Why does the word proper channels just kind of, does that rub anyone else the wrong way? Don't worry. Everything was very legal and normal, and I wore a very appropriate outfit, and I never spent time alone with Donald Trump in any private room. Like, why is that gross to me? Why does it feel weird? What is it? Is it just like, look, we'll do a lot of content about you. We will donate to your campaigns whatever money we don't have. I mean, the money we owe to these community banks. Like, what are you gonna, what's the offer? Or is it, what I think is like, well, come work for me and help me do the crimes. Like, help me do similar crimes. You can run my new Bitcoin venture. You can do the Bitcoin reserve. Like, that's who is being freed right now. It's people who will help him commit the white collar crime and then help him commit the street crime. Ah, yes. Breaking. Trump calls Savannah to inform her that he will be granting full pardons of her parents, Todd and Julie Chrisley. Trump knows best.
That's a terrible thing. It's a terrible thing, but it's a great thing because your parents are going to be free and clean, and I hope we can do it by tomorrow. Is that okay? We'll try getting it done tomorrow. So wonderful. Give them, I don't know them, but give them my regards and wish them a good life.
Mr. President.
Yes. How are you?
I just want to say thank you for bringing my parents back.
Yeah, well, they were given a pretty harsh treatment based on what I'm hearing.
Jesus Christ. Thank you for bringing my baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. Criminals, I can't do it. White collar crime. Babies, white collar crime, reality TV. Their sentences were reduced, so like they were going to get out pretty soon. Oh, Savannah also has a podcast called Unlocked with Savannah Chrisley. Obviously, it's because her shows were canceled. He also pardoned disgraced former Illinois governor Rod Blagojevich, who was convicted of corruption-related crimes in 2011. He commuted Blagojevich's 14-year sentence during his first term. He attended the 2024 Republican National Convention in support of Trump, whom he called the most demonized political figure in American history. He also pardoned former Tennessee State Senator Brian Kelsey, who was 2 weeks into a 21-month prison sentence for an illegal campaign finance scheme. May God bless America. He also pardoned Michael Fiore, shame about the last name, the former Las Vegas city councilwoman, or Michelle Fiore, and former Republican state lawmaker who was awaiting sentencing on federal wire fraud charges. Fiore, a loyal Trump supporter, was accused of using money meant to honor a slain police officer for her personal expenses, including cosmetic surgery, rent, and her daughter's wedding. And just this week on Monday, Trump announced a pardon for Scott Jenkins, a former Virginia sheriff who was found guilty of accepting $75,000 in bribes in exchange for appointing multiple businessmen as an auxiliary deputy sheriffs in his Culpeper County department. He was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison in March and was reportedly due to report to prison on Tuesday, but not no more. You see how we do? By the way, the real criminals are the people who pick your food, who gut the slaughtered hogs in the pork processing facilities. They are the ones who take care of your children, clean your homes. Those are criminals. Those are the real criminals. But like, once you commit a certain amount of like a dollar amount of crime, and if you rob either a small bank or like the taxpayer. You know, it's like reminds me of the SNL sketch. One of the best lines ever written was when Jeff Sessions was being clowned on by Kate McKinnon. She's like, everybody knows there are two types of crime, regular and black. So good. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.